My husband left me in the rain, 37 miles from home, because he said I needed to be taught a lesson. It wasn't dramatic at first. No screaming, no shouting, no broken glass. Just silence, rain, and the slow realization that the man beside me wasn't the man I married. We had been driving back from a dinner outside the city, a long stretch of road, trees on both sides, no streetlights, no traffic. The rain came suddenly, heavy and cold, tapping hard against the windshield. We argued quietly at first, about something small, something stupid. Then it shifted. He said I embarrassed him, the way I spoke to one of his colleagues. I said he embarrassed himself, flirting right in front of me, smiling like I wasn't even there. That's when his hands tightened on the steering wheel. That's when his voice changed. "You need to learn when to stay quiet," he said, calm, controlled, almost practiced. Before I could respond, he pulled the car over, middle of nowhere, no houses, no lights. I laughed at first, not because it was funny, but because I didn't believe him. Then he reached across, opened my door, and waited. The rain hit my face instantly, cold, sharp, unforgiving. My dress soaked through in seconds. My heels slipped on the wet road. "This will teach you respect," he said. "Walk home, think about what you did." I stood there frozen, rain dripping from my hair, my hands shaking, trying to understand how the man I trusted could look at me like this. Then he drove away. No hesitation, no glance back. Just red tail lights fading into the storm. I stood alone, heart pounding, breath uneven, rain soaking into my skin. That was the moment I realized something important. He thought this would break me. He thought fear would make me obedient. What he didn't know was that I had already been preparing for the day his mask slipped. I reached into my pocket, pressed one button on my phone. He said the words that would change everything. Recording started. The rain didn't slow down. If anything, it got heavier, louder, like the night itself was closing in on me. I stood there for a moment longer, letting the cold soak in, letting my heart calm down. Panic wouldn't help. Fear wouldn't save me. Thinking would. I started walking toward the old gas station a few hundred yards down the road. It looked abandoned. One flickering light, cracked concrete, windows dark. The kind of place people forget exists. As I walked, my phone vibrated in my pocket. One message. "I'm here." I didn't speed up. I didn't run. I reached the edge of the parking lot just as a black truck rolled in quietly, headlights dimmed, the engine cut. The door opened. Marcus stepped out, tall, steady, rain barely touching him under a wide umbrella. Calm, like this was exactly where he expected to be. My bodyguard, my brother, the man my husband never took seriously. "You okay?" Marcus asked, his voice low, controlled. I nodded, finally letting myself breathe. He handed me a towel, then a warm coffee. My hands were shaking now, not from fear, but from release. "I recorded everything," I said quietly. "I know," he replied. "We all heard it." 8 months earlier, I had started preparing for this, not because I wanted revenge, but because something felt wrong. Money moving without explanation. Late nights. A coldness that crept in slowly, then all at once. Andrew thought I was naive, too trusting, too dependent. He never noticed the small cameras, never questioned the new passwords, never imagined I'd build a safety net beneath his control. Marcus wasn't just my bodyguard, he was my backup plan. While Andrew believed he was teaching me obedience, I was documenting his cruelty, every insult, every threat, every financial move he thought was invisible. Marcus drove me to a hotel an hour away, quiet, anonymous, safe. At the front desk, I lowered my voice, let it shake just enough. "My husband left me," I said. "I need a room." The clerk looked at my soaked dress, my trembling hands, and nodded without asking questions. Everything was recorded, every word, every look. Up in the room, wrapped in a blanket, I listened to Andrew's voicemail messages roll in. At first, confident, then irritated, then confused. By the seventh call, his voice changed. That's when I knew. He expected me home by morning, apologizing, ashamed. Instead, I was already moving pieces he didn't even know existed. And while he slept peacefully that night, believing he still had control, the storm he created was quietly gathering strength. I barely slept that night. Not because I was afraid, but because for the first time in years, I was alert, focused, fully awake. By morning, the rain had stopped, but the air felt heavy, like something was about to break. Andrew started calling just after sunrise. At first, his messages sounded annoyed, almost amused. "All right, you've made your point," he said in one voicemail. "Come home, we'll talk." I didn't respond. The next call came 10 minutes later, his tone sharper. "This isn't funny, you can't just disappear." Still, I stayed silent. Silence is powerful when someone is used to control. By mid-morning, the texts started piling up. "Where are you? Answer your phone." "You're embarrassing me." Then the tone shifted again. Concern, wrapped in anger. "If you're trying to punish me, it's not going to work." I sat on the edge of the hotel bed, phone face down, listening to the messages stack up without touching it. Marcus sat nearby, scrolling through reports, already several steps ahead. By noon, Andrew realized something was wrong. He logged into our joint accounts, or tried to. The first call came immediately after. "What did you do?" he asked, his voice tight, controlled, forced calm. I let it ring. By the time the second call came, the calm was gone. "Answer the phone," he snapped. "Now." Behind the scenes, everything was moving. The forensic accountant confirmed it. Every dollar traced, every transfer documented, years of quiet manipulation, suddenly visible under bright light. By early afternoon, my lawyer had filed emergency paperwork, temporary protections, financial freezes, a court date set before Andrew even understood what was happening. That's when he panicked. He showed up at the hotel. Not inside? Not yet. Just circling the parking lot, calling again and again. I watched from the window, heart steady, hands calm. The man who abandoned me in the rain was now searching for me, desperate to regain control. I didn't go down. I didn't speak. I let the law do the talking. By evening, his confidence was gone. He left one final message, his voice low, dangerous. "You think you're smart," he said. "You think you've won." I smiled for the first time since the night before, because winning wasn't loud, it was patient, and Andrew had no idea how much more he was about to lose. The court hearing was set for the next morning. Andrew arrived early, dressed perfectly, suit pressed, shoulders back, confidence carefully rehearsed. He looked like a man who still believed this was a misunderstanding, something he could smooth over with charm and authority. When he finally looked at me, there was confusion in his eyes. Not fear yet, just irritation. He still thought this was about control, about me pushing back too hard. The judge didn't waste time. My lawyer stood, calm, steady, and pressed play. Andrew's voice filled the courtroom. "You need a lesson. Walk home. Think about what you did." Hearing it out loud changed everything. The tone, the certainty, the cruelty in his voice, stripped of context, stripped of power. The room went quiet. Even Andrew stopped moving. Then the financial records were introduced. Accounts he swore didn't exist, transfers he called temporary, patterns that showed years of planning, not mistakes. Andrew tried to interrupt, his voice rising, hands moving, confidence cracking. The judge shut him down immediately. This wasn't a marital argument anymore. This was evidence. When federal agents entered the courtroom, the air shifted. Andrew's face drained of color. His jaw tightened, not in control this time, but in panic. As they placed the handcuffs on him, he finally looked at me again. Not angry, not arrogant, afraid. The man who believed fear made him powerful had finally met his own. Andrew was sentenced months later, years in federal prison, assets seized, his name quietly removed from every space where it once carried weight. The man who left me in the rain now woke up behind concrete walls, measured time in counts and lights, and answered to numbers instead of titles. He wrote to me once. The letter was bitter, defensive, desperate. He said I ruined his life, said I should have handled things privately, said I misunderstood him. He never apologized. I didn't reply. Instead, I rebuilt. I turned what he tried to destroy into something solid. Legal support for women who didn't realize they were being controlled. Financial guidance for those who felt trapped but couldn't explain why. Quiet exits for people who needed safety before courage. The rain still falls sometimes. But now, when it does, I watch it from inside. Warm, steady, protected. No fear, no waiting, no wondering if someone will come back for me. Andrew thought abandoning me would teach me obedience. What it taught me instead was patience, preparation, and the power of staying silent until the right moment. He left me in the rain. I walked away with my life, my dignity, and the certainty that cruelty always returns to its source, not loudly, not dramatically, but completely.